When hundreds of elephants were released into a new wildlife reserve in Kenya, the world called it a miracle, a symbol of hope for Africa's endangered giants. But 5 years later, everything changed. The result of this action shocked everyone. Northern Kenya had suffered for decades. Poachers hunted elephants without mercy. Ivory flowed to black markets. Entire herds disappeared overnight. The government watched helplessly. Conservation groups protested. International pressure mounted. Finally, President Mwangi announced the solution: a massive wildlife reserve, 40 square miles of fenced protection, complete safety from poachers. "We will create paradise for elephants," he declared. "No more death, no more fear." The world celebrated. Environmental organizations praised the bold action. Celebrities donated millions. News headlines called it historic. "Kenya saves its elephants," read the global headlines. Construction took 18 months. Workers built the strongest fence in Africa. Motion sensors covered every inch. Armed guards patrolled constantly. Water systems were engineered perfectly. Vegetation was planted strategically. Then came the elephants. 307 survivors, relocated from poaching zones across northern Kenya, tranquilized, transported, released into their new paradise. Television crews filmed the moment. Elephants emerged from transport trucks, walked into green grasslands, discovered fresh water sources. The footage went viral worldwide. 20 million views in 1 week. "The greatest act of wildlife protection in African history," declared the International Wildlife Federation. But Jelani Omondi watched with quiet concern. He had worked with elephants for 37 years. Something felt wrong about this. "They look confused," he told director James Kimani. "They need time to adjust. This is normal." "Is it?" Kimani waved away his concerns. "Look at them. Safe, fed, protected. What more could they need?" Jelani did not answer, but he kept watching. Year 1 passed peacefully. Elephants explored their new home, found water holes, established basic territories. The matriarchs led their family groups. Young calves played in the grass. International visitors came to observe. Documentaries were filmed. The sanctuary became a tourist attraction. Revenue flowed into conservation programs. Everyone called it a success. Before we continue, do not forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Year 2 brought subtle changes. The young males started showing aggression. Small fights broke out. Nothing serious, nothing alarming. Normal elephant behavior. Veterinarians assured everyone, but the fights increased. Week by week, month by month. Year 3 revealed deeper problems. Young males could not disperse naturally. In the wild, they would leave their birth herds, join bachelor groups, learn from older bulls across vast territories. Here, they had nowhere to go. 40 square miles held everyone together. Forever. The aggression escalated. Young bulls challenged each other constantly. Dominance battles became violent. Serious injuries appeared. "We need to separate the aggressive males," Kimani ordered, but where? The sanctuary was already divided into zones. Moving elephants only created new conflicts. Year 4 brought the water crisis. Elephants are intelligent, curious, destructive when frustrated. They began breaking things. Water pipes snapped under massive feet. Pumping stations were demolished, storage tanks were punctured. "Accidental damage," officials claimed. "We will reinforce everything." But Jelani knew better. He watched the young males deliberately target infrastructure. They were not clumsy. They were angry. The fence repairs became constant. Elephants pushed against barriers, tested weak points, probed for exits. "They are trying to leave," Jelani told Kimani. "Nonsense. They have everything here." Year 5 brought tragedy. 3 young calves died within 2 months. No disease, no injuries, no obvious cause. Dr. Amara Hassan performed necropsies. Found nothing wrong physically, but she saw the truth in tissue samples. Chronic stress, she told Kimani privately. These calves died from psychological trauma. That is impossible. The cortisol levels are extreme. These animals are living in constant distress. They are safe here, protected. Safe? Dr. Hassan shook her head. They are prisoners. The fights among young males became brutal. One lost part of his trunk. Another suffered a broken tusk. A third was nearly killed. Guards intervened with tranquilizers, separated the fighters, but new battles erupted daily. The matriarchs showed disturbing behavior too. They gathered at the fence every evening, stood there for hours, touching the barrier with their trunks, looking outward, toward the horizon, toward something beyond. They remember, Jelani said quietly. They remember their migration routes, their ancestral lands, the places where their grandmothers gave birth. Jelani spent his evenings walking the fence line, observing the elephants, understanding their silent grief. An old matriarch named Zawadi approached him often. She was 43 years old, had lived wild for 38 years before the relocation. Zawadi remembered freedom. She remembered traveling 50 miles in a single day, following ancient paths carved by generations, choosing where to go, when to move, how to live. Now she stood at the fence, day after day, year after year. One evening she touched Jelani's hand with her trunk, gentle, deliberate. Her ancient eyes held such sadness. "I know," Jelani whispered. "I know what we did to you." That night he wrote a report. 30 pages of behavioral observations, data collected over 5 years, undeniable patterns. The sanctuary was failing, not because of disease, not because of poor resources. It was failing because elephants cannot thrive in captivity, even beautiful captivity. He sent the report to Kimani, to government officials, to conservation organizations, to international donors. Most ignored it. Some dismissed it. A few became angry. "We saved these elephants," one official replied. "How dare you suggest we harmed them? You saved their bodies," Jelani wrote back, "but you killed their spirits." But nothing could prepare them for what happened next. This was the worst storm in 20 years. Lightning split the sky. Thunder shook the earth. Rain fell in sheets. Jelani was doing his evening rounds. He saw the elephants gathering, not in their usual groups, all of them, moving together toward the northern fence, young males at the front, matriarchs directing from behind, calves protected in the center. They were organized, purposeful, united. "No," Jelani breathed. "Please, no." But he understood. They had been planning this, waiting for the right moment, the perfect storm. The young males hit the fence together. 3 tons of force times 12 bulls. 36 tons of desperate strength. The fence groaned, held, sparked with electricity. The bulls backed up, charged again. Harder this time metal screamed. Posts shook, but still held. 3rd charge, 4th charge, 5th charge. The fence was designed to withstand anything, engineered by experts, built to last forever. But it was not built to withstand the combined will of 300 elephants who wanted their freedom back. On the 7th charge, the fence buckled, cables snapped. Posts tilted, a 20-foot section collapsed. The elephants poured through, not running, not stampeding, walking with dignity, with purpose, into the storm, into the darkness, into the wild savanna beyond. Jelani watched them go, tears mixed with rain on his face. He did not call for help, did not sound alarms, did not try to stop them. He simply watched freedom returning to the free. By morning, the storm had passed. Kimani arrived to assess the damage. Guards stood ready to recapture the elephants, but Jelani stopped them. "Look," he said quietly. Through binoculars, they could see the elephants not fleeing, not scattered. Standing together in a valley 2 miles away, Zawadi led them, her trunk raised, her pace steady. "They're going home," Jelani said. "Home? This is home. We made it for them. No, we made it for us, to feel good about saving them, to celebrate our compassion, to display our conservation success." The government wanted to recapture them. Helicopters were readied. Tranquilizer teams mobilized. The international community demanded action. But Dr. Hassan intervened. She released her findings publicly. 5 years of data. Undeniable evidence of psychological trauma. Proof that the sanctuary had harmed the elephants it was meant to save. "We created paradise for animals," she told reporters, "but we turned it into a prison. We gave them everything except the one thing they needed most: freedom." The backlash was immediate. Politicians were furious. Donors felt betrayed. Conservation organizations scrambled to defend their decision. But the data did not lie. The elephants' behavior told the truth. It took 4 months to dismantle the fence workers removed every post, every cable, every barrier. Jelani watched the last section come down. Zawadi stood nearby, observing, understanding. When the final post fell, she walked forward, touched the empty space where the fence had stood. Then she raised her trunk and called out a long, low rumble that carried for miles. Other elephants answered, from every direction, a chorus of freedom. That night, Jelani wrote in his journal, "Today I learned the hardest lesson of my career. You cannot save nature if you do not let it be wild. Even kindness without freedom becomes cruelty. Sometimes the greatest act of love is letting go." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me keep sharing more important stories with you.